Hello and welcome to Blytheway Business News. Today I'm joined by James Campbell, who's the Managing Director of Botswana Diamonds, who's had some fantastic news out this morning about an acquisition he's made from Petra Diamonds. It's already been described by John Mayer, the analyst at SP Angel, as a significant step for Botswana Diamonds, and this is the acquisition of the KX36 diamond discovery in Botswana. James, you've got it from Petra Diamonds. Tell us a little bit more about the deal and the asset, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Tim, and thank you very much for having me on Core London. We were delighted to announce the acquisition this morning, as you rightly said, of the KX36 diamond discovery in central Botswana. This diamond discovery has a SAMREC compliant indicated resource on it. It has a pre-feasibility study attached to it, and Petra have done a significant amount of work on it. But it's not just KX36 itself. It's also probably the second most comprehensive database of diamond exploration in Botswana, which complements the extensive database that Botswana Diamonds has and will help us find additional kimberlites, particularly in the Central Kalahari Game Reserve.
But the one that we're acquiring today, the KX36, is on an established kimberlite pipe, is that right?
That's correct. The KX36 discovery is south of Gem Diamonds' Gargu mines and immediately east of Sunland Minerals' concession in the Central Kalahari. Yes, so it's a discovery which was made by Petra. Interestingly, many other diamond exploration companies had actually previously looked at the ground, but Petra, through a very, very precise exploration work, were able to find what is in fact probably one of the highest grade kimberlite pipes discovered since the discovery of the Arapa and Jwaneng clusters by De Beers in the 1960s.
And for viewers who may not be geologists by training or nature, a kimberlite pipe, in simple terms, James, is where we find diamonds. Is that right?
Absolutely. A kimberlite pipe is essentially an extinct volcano. It's a volcano that erupted many, many millions of years ago, or billions of years ago in the case of Cullinan. And as opposed to many of the volcanic eruptions you see today, these current eruptions tap shallow mantle. Kimberlites tap deep mantle, where carbon exists under high pressure and high temperature and are thus diamonds. And kimberlites are essentially the transport mechanism for bringing up these diamonds from the upper mantle all the way through to the crust itself.
Okay, so this significant step is going to bring value to Botswana Diamonds, the business. What are the plans looking forward for the new licenses, both short-term and long-term?
Tim, we're very, very fortunate that Petra have done abundant work already on the project itself. So we're going to take that abundant work and continue our current desktop review. And we're going to be looking at two specific areas. You'll notice in itself that we gave a range of grades and diamond values. We gave a range of grades from 57 to 76 carats per 100 tons, and a range of diamond values from $65 to $107 per carat. So we're going to firstly work on those from a desktop perspective, and then we, in good time, will be doing our own bulk sampling in order to narrow that range downwards. The second thing we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at innovative mining techniques in order to be able to commercialize KX36. Again, that'll start off by deploying some of the most innovative and greatest thinkers of mining engineers for this particular style of deposit. And then the third thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this phenomenal database we have from Petra and begin to do a very detailed dissection of it to see new target areas where Botswana Diamonds could actually focus on new discoveries. But all of this, of course, will only take place once we've actually satisfied the three really important CPs which we outlined in the press release of this morning.
Botswana Diamonds, as the name suggests, heartland is Botswana. But you've also got assets in South Africa and in Zimbabwe. Give us a quick talk through the portfolio. Let's start with Botswana. What is, besides KX36, what else is going on in Botswana?
Tim, thank you. We've got two other ventures in Botswana, one called Sunland Minerals, which is 100% owned by Botswana Diamonds. The other is the Maibwe joint venture, which is in the currently liquidated BCL. And interestingly, the KX36 prospecting license and the two prospecting licenses immediately adjacent to it are very close to both Sunland and Maibwe's ground. On Sunland, we have identified high-grade geophysical targets, and these have been supported by the concentrations of kimberlitic minerals above it. And we were due to start drilling this winter, which is as we speak right now. But sadly, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we're unable to drill. So the next step there would be drilling. And then secondly, we're working very, very closely with the Maibwe liquidator to find a corporate solution to what has actually dragged on for some considerable period of time. And why Maibwe is of particular interest to us is that one of the kimberlite pipes in this cluster had very high-grade microdiamond counts. Moving into South Africa, our main focus over the past 6 months has been on the Thorny River Marsfontein concession, which is some 3 hours north of Johannesburg. We've recently published very good bulk sampling results from two of the Marsfontein kimberlites, which gave modeled grades in the order of 60 carats per 100 tons. And this will also require follow-up drilling too. We've also recently undertaken an assessment of the Marsfontein gravels, and we were very ably supported by Professor Tanya Marshall, who is one of the leading authorities on diamondiferous gravels in the world. And as soon as the pandemic and the lockdown drops, particularly in this part of the world, we'll be continuing our very, very exciting work with Subterrane, a UK geophysical and structural geological exploration company, which is having a hard look at the Thorny River and Marsfontein areas. And finally, in Zimbabwe, our investors would be aware that we have signed an agreement with AIM-listed Vast Resources PLC, and just before the lockdowns in Zimbabwe and South Africa, we were awaiting an announcement that Vast had signed an agreement with the ZCDC to open the door for development of the exciting Marangi diamond fields. We're still awaiting that development, but the pandemic, we're hitting the peak of the pandemic here in Southern Africa, so one will just have to be patient for some of these things to come to pass.
Well, you've raised the subject of the pandemic, and sadly these days no interview is complete without a quick chat about COVID-19 and its impact. So how have you been managing the situation? Have you had to implement any new measures? What's been the impact on the diamond industry?
I think if I touch on the impact on Botswana Diamonds, firstly, we were able to transport the bulk sample we took at Marsfontein immediately before the pandemic to our partner, Eurafrican Diamond Corporation's plant in Gauteng, which is our current province. So we were able to process it during the pandemic. And then actually, I think quite importantly and topically for this particular interview, that Botswana Diamonds had looked at Sikaka in 2017, and at the beginning of the pandemic, it gave us ample opportunity to have another look at it. And we were very, very hard at work during the pandemic, doing the due diligence and negotiating with Petra Diamonds to conclude the arrangement which we announced today. Sadly, we've been unable to do any further field work, and because of no international travel, we've been unable to cross the border into Botswana. And then touching on your second part, Tim, about the diamond market itself. Many people have become quite negative about the diamond market. But what we have seen, and it's very, very true, is that there have been weak sales. De Beers, Alrosa, and many others have reported this. And there have been low diamond prices, which has been unsurprising. But what history has shown us, and you can go all the way back to the 1930s recession, all the way through to the recent global financial crisis, that diamonds come back very, very hard following such an economic recession. And in fact, Mark Cutifani was on record at the end of last week saying that they've already begun to see a pickup of demand in diamond jewelry sales in the United States. And in fact, he went on and said that it was a pent-up demand, and he expects significant sales to come through. And clearly, he, like I, we look at the history of diamonds over the last 100 years or more, and as my mother often used to say, history repeats itself time and time again. And we anticipate in the fullness of time that diamond sales will rebound quite strongly and then come back into the overall trend of fitting in that supply-demand gap, which we hope to fill, by the way, by applying innovative solutions around KX36 and some of our other projects.
Well, I don't know about your mother, James, but I do know that you spent a lifetime in diamonds. So when you're talking about the diamond market, I think it's wise to listen. So before we close down, finally, quick recap, please. Today's deal. And finally, then, what should viewers be looking out for in terms of future news flow in the coming months?
Thank you very much, Tim. If I look at the highlights of today's deal, we've acquired KX36, which is an advanced high-grade kimberlite in the central Kalahari of Botswana with a Samarek indicated and inferred resource. We've also acquired probably the second most comprehensive database in diamond exploration in Botswana, which complements our current database and allows us the opportunity for further diamond discoveries in Botswana. And then on to future news flow. The very first and most important thing must be concluding the 3 CPs on the Sakaka acquisition itself. And then following that, there would be the desktop results from KX36 itself. And maybe just a small, just a little point I'd like to add before I conclude what we'd like to announce, that many of our investors were probably investors in African diamonds too as well. And they might recall that we took the resource as it was at that time, optimized it, and then equally optimized and developed a new feasibility study for the mine itself. And if you look at Lucara's results, the rest is history. And then finally, the other bits of news, post the pandemic, of course, would like to continue drilling on Marsfontein, would like to start the drilling program in the Kalahari, and then continue field work in all of our operations.
James, thank you very much. That was James Campbell, Managing Director of Botswana Diamonds, telling us about the exciting new acquisition in Botswana of the KX36 diamond discovery, already described by one leading analyst as a significant step for Botswana Diamonds. Botswana Diamonds is traded on the AIM market in London with a ticker of BOD and a market capitalisation of only £5 million. How much longer will it be there? Thank you for watching.